It is gloomy here in Chicago.
It is. It is.
And very cold.
Where most everyone else is calling from. I'm good with names. I'm not really good at remembering where everyone's from, but I do know the vast majority of the Cadre team is up north, and us Chicagoans are dealing with some cold, rainy fall weather.
You can see the sunlight coming in behind me.
Oh, yes.
In North Carolina, you got a lot of sun and blue skies, and it's about 72.
Oh, how nice.
All day. And the pine needles are falling.
Oh, that sounds pretty. Oh, I see New Orleans and Denver. That's a wide range of temperatures right there. That's got to be pretty nice to experience. I was out in Denver earlier this year, and it's beautiful. Love it out there. All right, I think we've got a good group of people here. So what do we say we get this party started? Let me welcome everyone once again. Welcome to our CadreTalk Town Hall. It's here to help us connect with you, build a greater sense of community, and answer any questions that might be out there. I'm Kate Zeitfogel. I am the Director of Customer Success here at Cadre. And like I mentioned earlier, I am in the Chicago area, and where it's nice and cold and rainy and wintry feeling, even though it's—
How cold is it?
Just fall. It is, I think they said it's supposed to be a high of 53 today, but I don't know, the wind in my corner of Chicago is pretty strong, so it's making it feel more like 40 something to me. And there's no—
I'm a Chicago girl as well, but I'm actually in Whistler, Canada.
Oh, wow.
That's a big difference. What's the weather like up there?
It's 37.
Oh my, well, at least you're used to the cold.
Oh, no. I'm just here for 2 weeks. I'm on a hiking trip.
Oh, so you chose the cold, Terry. Well, that's nice at least.
I did.
Are you seeing some nice colors up there too?
Oh, it's exquisite. It's exquisite. The cyclone bomb hit south of here, but the weather has affected, the cyclone bomb has affected the trees and a lot of the foliage. It's beautiful.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, you're pretty lucky to be up there right now.
It's gorgeous.
Hi.
Sort of my prelude to ski season.
Ooh, that does sound really nice. Excellent. I'm seeing all sorts of fun, really incredible locations. Whistler, Canada is wonderful. I see Atlanta, Georgia. That's fantastic. Let me toss it over to my colleague, Erin here. She is with our accounting team. Erin, where are you calling in from? And what are you doing for Halloween this weekend?
I am in Bloomington, Indiana, and I am going to Courtney. She's on that side of my screen. I'm going to her Halloween party.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and then taking my daughter trick-or-treating.
Nice.
What's your daughter dressing up as this year?
She is going to be a creepy doll.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
That's exciting. Creepy seems to be really popular this year with kids.
It is. This is the first year she's going to be creepy and not cute. So it'll be a nice change.
That's awesome.
I have to do this. Okay.
Well, that's a good transition over to Courtney, who's also in our accounting team, also in Bloomington, Indiana. So we know you're having a Halloween party. What are you and your family dressing up as, Courtney?
Well, my husband and I are dressing up as, he's doing Forrest Gump and I'm doing Jenny.
Awesome.
It's his favorite movie. So, but that's what we're being. My youngest son is going to be a shark, his favorite animal.
Cute.
My daughter, she hasn't figured it out yet. She thinks she's just going to be like maybe a serial killer. She loves crime shows. And then my oldest son is, I think he's going to be some sort of rapper. I don't even know who he is, but he already bought the mask and everything to go with it. So.
All right. Well, at least he's protecting himself with that mask to going trick-or-treating and stuff. It's good. Well, awesome. I'm trying to picture like what a serial killer costume would be like, because I feel like from watching those shows, the thing I've learned is that it could just be me.
This is true. This is true. I think she's going for the whole slasher, you know, with the knife and fake blood kind of look.
Psycho type.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like Michael Myers-ish.
Nice. Excellent. Kim, what are you up to for Halloween this year?
I'm actually going to Michigan,
Oh, very nice.
so dressing up as nothing.
Oh. I think that you could probably steal the serial killer costume idea and just, go as your normal
Yeah, go
self.
as myself. Yeah, yes, yes. Looking forward to, well, it's not supposed to rain on Saturday, so we'll have one day of not rainy weather, but it'll be nice to get out of the city.
Yes, definitely. And you should get some nice leaf peeping up in Michigan also.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful when all the leaves change in the fall. It's gorgeous. And we're going to Virtue Cider. If you guys have ever had that, they have a place
I
in
have not,
Michigan.
but my
Oh my
sister
God,
really
it's
likes it.
amazing. Every time we go to Michigan, we go there.
Ooh, very nice.
Yes, it's good.
Awesome. Well, let me toss it over to Dawn Penfold now. Dawn, you said you're down in down is relative, I realize, but down in North Carolina. Dawn, what are you up to for Halloween this weekend?
We have an air show, a big air show here every Halloween weekend. So we're going to go to the air show. And we get very few tricks or treaters in our block. So I think I bring out the same Snickers the last 10 years out of the freezer and defrost them and nobody takes them. And that's about it. But we're going to a big air show.
I'm surprised that you don't eat those Snickers. Like, I have a rule in my house that we're not allowed to buy Halloween candy till like 2 days beforehand, because otherwise it goes straight onto my hips. So
Yeah, I know. And luckily we don't like Snickers, so that's why we always bought those. But I want to give you an idea with a serial killer. Many years ago, dressed up as a serial killer, but I had a cereal box on with Special K, and then a knife coming out of the back of it.
I
That's
love that.
So that's another way, a twist for serial killer that you could do.
That's awesome.
I love it. And Dawn is with our, shall I say, sister company, Meeting Jobs. So while we at Cadre, as you guys all know, we do the staffing for freelancers, Dawn takes care of all of those permanent placements. So if you're looking for a full-time job, Dawn is the one to talk to.
Yeah.
For.
Or if you know of anybody who's looking for a permanent position, we've got a lot of jobs that are posting up there right now. It is really, hiring officials are having a hard time finding candidates right now. So go to meetingjobs.com or send it on to your friends at meetingjobs.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Dawn. I'm going to now toss it over to Ashley. Ashley, you are, as we mentioned earlier, in Chicago, so we know what your weather is like. What are you and your family doing for Halloween this year?
Well, we are very busy. It even starts tomorrow. I have two small ones, as many of you know. So trunk or treat is a big thing. We're kind of new to it. I didn't grow up doing it, but now all the schools do. So it's where you get to like trick or treat out of people's trunks, and it's a lot of fun. So we have one tomorrow, and then we have one Saturday and Sunday. So we have lots of trick or treating. We had like a big kids Halloween party just this past weekend with all of our friends who have kids, and it was really cute to see them all dressed up, and they all had a lot of fun.
Very cute. And I know you told me earlier, but for the rest of the crowd, what are your kids dressed up as this year?
Yes. So my daughter Josie wants to be a black cat, but it was a very specific black cat that has like a big black tutu and like tutus on her wrists and ankles as well. She's like a very fluffy black cat.
Oh.
So that was fun. I had to make those because I couldn't find them in her size. And then my son is Maui from Moana.
Oh, very nice. Did you get like great big muscles for him so that he's...
I didn't get the big muscles, but it is a pretty cool costume that looks like it with all the tattoos. Maybe I'll post a picture of them so everyone can see. They did look really cute and they had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, last but certainly not least, I am excited that Debbie was able to join us today. So Debbie Tarasevich is one of our other senior account managers, along with Ashley here. Debbie, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to hear from you. I know that you're usually in the Chicago area. Is that where you are today?
Yes,
And
where
what
I'm
are
at,
you and
yeah.
your family doing for Halloween this weekend?
Oh gosh, I'm doing nothing. No,
Lies.
no. Just the usual. The grandkids will be here, and we have a quite diverse selection of costumes this year. So that's interesting. From pioneers to lemmings.
That is
Don't
a
ask me
wide
what that is, I
range.
don't know. So,
Goodness.
but that's about all that's going on here.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am so excited that you are here joining us so that we can pick your brain if we so choose. This is the Cadre team. We've got a few others that were not able to join us today, but those that are, I am excited that everyone is here. And like I said, I am really excited to see all of these familiar names and faces on my screen here. And I know that we recently have been busy, which is such a nice feeling. And a lot of you have been out on the road. I know many of you have your cameras on. Like just by show of hands, how many of you have actually been out on the road with work? Oh, that's a lot. That's a good number of people. That's awesome. Excellent. Show of hands, has a lot changed since the last time you were out on the road? Yeah, hands up for yeah. I would love to hear from some of you if you're willing to share some of those experiences with us. Because me being out on the road is very different than you being out on the road. And so I would love to hear what each of you are experiencing, what's the same, what's different. Ashley, is there someone that you saw with a hand up that we could call on real fast?
Looking right now, I have to admit, I do apologize. I was having some connectivity on my phone. I'm scrolling back and forth to see. So
No
I'm sorry.
problem. Is there anyone that would like to jump in and share?
Yeah, raise your hand.
Yeah. I see a hand with Jennifer B. Go ahead and join us, Jennifer. Tell us.
Hi, Jennifer Burton, and I just did a program that was held outside at a fairgrounds. So everything was under tents. And the participants, before they could come into registration, had to go and get rapid tested. So they had probably, I'd say, 6 booths set up. You went in, you got tested, all your information, even if you were vaccinated, because it was a vaccinated only conference. So you would sit for 15 minutes, comes back negative, they give you a wristband. Then you have to walk over and you stand in front of an iPad that has the outline of a head and it takes your temperature. Even then they get in line.
Many layers. That's
correct. And then every day we had to check that they had their bracelet on. We had to check, of course, their credentials, and then they had to stand in front of that iPad again. And every day we took their temperature.
So they did the testing once, but had to do the temperature scan each day. Okay.
Each day before they could get in. And I will say this was as a comment it was an international, and there was a small group from Germany, and she had said that she very much appreciated the level that they went through to try to mitigate, because they had been in a conference in Vegas, and she said none of this was in place, and her entire team had breakthrough COVID. They were all vaccinated.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big deal for a lot, and I get it, because if we blow this, we could set it back. Although then I get frustrated. Look at all the football stadiums.
Yeah.
There's 70,000 unmasked screaming fans. So anyway.
Yeah, that's very true.
Anyway, there was a lot of things in place, and it was appreciated.
Were there also were masks required as well, even though it was outdoors?
If you were indoors.
If you were indoors. Okay.
And there was a couple they had networking areas that were indoors.
Interesting. And how long was the conference total? 3 days, 4 days?
3 days.
3 days. Okay, interesting. Very cool.
So yeah, it went well. Another thing, I don't know if anybody has taken that pandemic training, on-site pandemic training. So the lines to get, we had 3,500 people and we had a lot of line to keep them spaced.
Wow.
So yeah, that was the other, just it, as far as the logistical thing, managing the flow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Did that, especially with needing that extra space, that extra people were needed, and so you were running around more than normal?
Not really, because well, there was more people because of, yeah, the protocols in place. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay, excellent. Well, cool. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Anything else that you want to?
No, I'm looking forward. I mean, I've got 2022 starting to fill up and it's just so exciting.
That is really exciting.
God, that feels good.
I'm really excited to hear that 2022 is looking good for you, because it's starting to look good for us, but I know that there's always that apprehension, especially right now. So
I expect things are going to have to be really fluid.
yes.
That's kind of how I approach it. So anyway,
Cool.
nice to see you guys.
Thank you. Awesome. Can we get someone else to share their stories with us? I would love to hear from more people.
Sure. I can go.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Isabella. Just did an incentive trip. Sorry, I was eating lunch, so my camera.
No worries.
So just did an incentive trip in the Caribbean, and they are running at 85-90% occupancies.
Okay.
So they
Wow.
have been kicking butt during COVID. So they are actually at their pre-pandemic levels on occupancies at most of their properties, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's this cool app. I don't know if you all use it, VeriFly, if you're flying internationally, and you can download your vaccine, your COVID test, and it gives you all the entry requirements for that country once you put in your flight information. So everything is on your phone before you go. You don't even need to carry any paperwork and any of that. And they check in, they just scan the barcode, and it was seamless, piece of cake, breeze, get through. On arrival, temperature checks as you arrive at the airport, and again, the rescanning and checking on the VeriFly app, which was wonderful because it just got you through all the lines and everything pretty quickly. And they give you a card that you present to the hotel at check-in, which shows that you've been verified and you're COVID-free. And on arrival at the hotel, all the hotels have sanitizing stations. They do temperature checks as you come into the property. Masks are required once you're on property if you are inside. But most of the events, like we had lunch outside, dinner outside on the beach. The meetings were obviously inside. But pretty much everybody was compliant. And 3 days after we arrived, everybody had to get tested again.
Wow.
So that was a requirement. And they just set up a room next to the conference, where the conference was, and people just went in on a flow.
Oh.
And it was very efficiently done. They bring their health people on site, and they do the screening for you there and then. And then they get all your information and they email the results. If you're on VeriFly, it actually pops up if you give them the information. So they are very hands-on, very high-tech, very organized. So if anyone's struggling or looking for a place, the Caribbean's the way to go at the moment.
Very good.
And the same for the return.
Caribbean's such a hard sell anyway, right?
Right.
But to hear all of that too, that's amazing. I love hearing that. How long, how many days were the conferences that you, the incentive trips that you did?
It was 7 days.
7 days. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why you had the testing and right in the middle, just to recheck everyone. That makes sense. Okay.
Well, it was a requirement of the island. You had to get tested 3 days once you arrive. Yeah, they're not playing out there because they want life to get back to normal.
Yeah,
and keep everybody safe. And they have separate quarantine rooms. Like the hotel had a separate wing where they quarantined the people, and they would fly them out if needed be.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very organized. So it's actually Oh, the name of the app is Very Fly. I'll put it in the chat when I'm done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
Everybody wants it.
yeah, exactly. You're
And I'm
gonna be
here
the
for
most
any
talked about
questions.
right now.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
And I have a question. Now, are all of the for everybody, if there is testing on site, are all the packs pretty compliant and eager to do the testing, or has there been pushback or anything? Anybody experience any of that?
Feel free to chime in.
Well, that's a good thing.
we did not have any
done it.
issues. I think people were just happy to be out and to be able to go out. And the fact that they came to us versus you having to arrange for people. And a lot of the resorts have that relationship where they will bring the health officials over to the property and it's done on property.
Nice. Awesome.
Sorry,
Well,
I didn't mean to cut off whoever was talking. Sorry about that.
Well, I was going to say that the event that I worked, they had on-site testing. An app that was a COVID screening. First question was vaccinated or not. If you answered no to vaccinated, it was an automatic rapid test. And there were several participants who refused to be tested. And fortunately for the staff, all of us, the client actually had someone who was the hammer and said, sorry, company policy, no matter who you are, you need to go either test or go home. And we had a couple people that went home. Nobody tested positive, which is great. But as Isabella had said, the hotel had also had accommodations in case that would happen. You know, for anybody who went through that on-site protocol program, it was evident in there that it all works pretty well until you get the one person who won't comply, and then what do you do with them? And somebody has to be available to make that decision. So in my case, it worked out. The client was good. They understood they, you know, was going to stand behind the staff. On-site testing helped. They actually created a TD position on site, who was actually became the COVID liaison. And people were directed to that individual to be escorted to testing. So it took it off the back of, you know, anybody who was at the reg desk or trans or anything like that. So it was well organized.
Good.
Worked very well. It was good to see. It was good to see the support from the client was the plus.
Definitely. Excellent.
For sharing. I was curious about that.
Excellent. Anyone else want to share? Go ahead, Eric. Go for it.
Yeah, so I was just gonna kind of dovetail on what Dave was just saying. I worked with the auto group. I think he was on the other one, but mine was Canadian specifically. So we didn't have too many problems. Well, they had to test before they went to the US. And then, of course, that was, they had two different types of tests, an antigen test going over and a more detailed molecular test called the PCR test coming back. And we had testing on site. We had a travel director as well, managed the testing there. And, you know, they worked everything through the app, you know, as far as getting information out. And really everybody was participated, and I didn't see any pushback whatsoever with our group, but it was interesting to see that everybody was thankful. And I mean, you get all walks of life. Some people, you know, maybe not believe in all the protocols, but really no pushback at all from, you know, the auto or North American dealer meeting that I went to. So I thought it was very interesting to watch, you know, and we had everybody wear masks. So this was in Las Vegas. Everybody did wear masks, and everybody was, I really didn't see anybody, because we covered some of the salon and the meetings just to see if everybody was also just adhering to the rules, and everybody participated, adhered to the rules and the mask rules. So I was quite surprised. And I think when people are traveling, they understand that they need this extra level of, testing. And I guess we're all going into the unknown because every week seems to change the rules. So I'm not sure where we're headed now, but hopefully, maybe loosening up a little bit. But anyway.
Well, with all these horror stories of unruly passengers on planes and that sort of thing, and knowing what life on site can be like, especially as we all get a little hangry and it gets later into a program, I totally could have foreseen lots of pushback from people on site. So I am really relieved to hear that, at least so far from the people that we've heard, yourself included, Eric, that you're not getting that pushback. You're not getting the temper tantrums on site. You're not getting the unruly passengers to reveal themselves on site. So that's wonderful to hear. And the level of cooperation that people are participating in is really nice to hear. Excellent. Are there others that would like to share their tales of the road?
Can I just chime in again?
Of course you can.
Just to piggyback on the temper tantrums, on the Delta flight before we took off, the captain, he was so funny. He was like, it is a mandate, federal mandate for everyone to wear the mask during the duration of the flight, blah, blah, blah. He gave his whole spiel. And he's like, you have 5 minutes. If you're one of those passengers that does not comply, we will gladly get you off the plane before we take off. I thought that was sweet. And they said it both going and coming back. So I thought I think they're also just tired of it. So they were just like, if you're not going to comply, if you're going to give our flight crew a hard time, please disembark at this point.
Make our lives easier right now.
But he said it in such a way, everyone packed out laughing when he was done. So nobody got off too.
Good on both fronts. Excellent. Great. Anyone else want to chime in, share a little bit?
Or if anyone has any questions.
We had a really good experience so far with the clients, and the fact that they are standing by us 100% and not putting us in the middle of it. And I really, really, truly appreciate that, just because, we take on roles of anything and everything, and I'm sure that we would, but it's just nice that they are not expecting it of us. And I'm even on site right now, and they have mandatory testing every single week, and they all have to ship it in, and it's 100%. They need to get it to the FedEx office themselves and take care of it. So it's nice that, we can be there, but at the same point, they're not, we take on any and every role. So it's nice to not take this role on.
That is really nice. Because I think Ashley was probably about to say it too, but like, you guys take on the bad guy role a lot when you need to. I mean, you don't have to all the time, but I mean, it's kind of a role that gets shoved on you a lot. And like I said, I'm really glad that that's not a position you're in. And I love hearing that the clients are supporting you. Because that's not always the case with things either, is it? Don't want to talk too badly, but I mean, they don't always have your back. So having it in such a tough situation like this, I think is really nice to hear. That's great. Where are you right now?
Oh, in Vegas.
Vegas.
That's one of the things that I would say has changed is the locations. We're 100% in Vegas anymore, which is fantastic because it's great to be working. But where is everyone? It's
right
in Vegas.
Yeah,
and
Vegas.
It is busy out here.
Busy is a good thing, but busy and complying is even better.
Right.
Excellent. Well, great. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Anything else that you can share, especially while you're on site right now?
Well, today is not arrival day yet, so things are going smooth.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
Kate, we have a question that came in, and what is the protocol on Cadre programs if a independent contractor TD gets CV-19, gets COVID?
That is a good question. It's a tricky question, but it's a good one. If you happen to catch COVID while you are on site, of course, you need to let your client know right away so that proper protocols can be taken on site, as you know. But unfortunately, you'll have to find the accommodations to quarantine yourself. And
Let me speak, I can speak about that.
Yeah,
Most
go for it.
clients I have found have procedures put in place.
Perfect.
If someone should test positive, this is the process of what will happen, whether you're a PAX or you're a vendor on site. So they do have the game plan of what will happen.
Oh, good.
So, and sometimes, well, the planners know and whatnot. Sometimes it might be in the TD info, just so they have that, but otherwise, but they do have a game plan. It's just not, hey, if you get sick on site, it's up to your own devices. A lot of them already know that they're going to pay for a hotel room and might not be at that hotel room. They might not get your daily rate, but they're going to pay per diem. So they have these, already have these put in place. So, and one thing about the testing on site and what the expectations are, I think what has been really good is communicate to the participants so they know what they're walking into. Some might even have to sign a document. Yes, I'm going to adhere to these policies before you go on site. Yes, I'm vaccinated, or yes, I'm going to get tested. So everyone already knows exactly what's going to happen when you're on site, and you're not going to show up and say, no, I don't want to be tested, because I can guarantee you that was probably communicated to you before, and you probably already said, yes, that's fine, or else you didn't read the information, and that's all on you. But communication is like the key to making sure everything runs really smoothly when you're on site, going on site. If they're not comfortable, they're not going to show up on site, the employees or whatnot. So
sure. Excellent.
Yeah,
So
there's a
it's
game
really
plan for
nice
everything.
to know that clients are also taking TDs into consideration when, so not just supporting TDs when on site, but also if COVID should happen.
All vendors, not just TDs, it's all of the vendors. They have processes and protocols in place for anyone that's part of their program on site. So,
excellent.
And they've worked it with the hotel about things. So that's part of the process of when you're going to be booking a program, you're already going to talk to the hotel, and you're already going to know what their COVID protocols are. And if someone, you have a wing or what's going to exactly happen, they've already had those done. I say probably most of the planners have taken that pandemic training. So they already know about, this is the extension of the planning that we have to do when we're on site. It's just an extra added layer of things that have to happen now.
Excellent. Great. And those, and because each client has their own protocols when it comes to that, it'll be listed in the custom policies on
Now the COVID's usually not listed in that. It's our COVID policy about you're not going to be sick going on site, but as far as every company would have their own policies. For instance, some programs we've had to send that you're going to get tested on site. Do you agree to all these things? They're like, yes, we agree to all of this. So it's program by program, not just one basic blanket for all of the clients.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of the time, those details are sent out with like the launch details from the client. So you will know ahead of time if you need to be, if you need to get a test beforehand or.
Oh yeah, that's communicated ahead of time.
Yeah, everything is communicated. So it won't necessarily be when you first are contracted for the program, but before you leave in your program details from the client or from us, that is when you will get those details.
Yeah.
So I know question I saw in the comments. So you won't get it upon contract, but you will get it upon departure for your program.
Yep.
We also had another question. Terry asked if somebody has worked a cruise or a program on a cruise and or has one pending, and what is the protocol out of Florida?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I've had a cruise. Yeah,
I haven't heard of any cruises.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Is
But anybody outside the contract?
I thought though with the cruise ships that you still had to, do you have to be vaccinated or you have to be tested?
I know
Or-
Norwegian,
I hear,
I think
but
it
I
was
can't remember.
Norwegian was requiring vaccination
Right.
and out of Florida, and there was a huge lawsuit, but I haven't heard anything going on with any of the cruise ships right now.
I have
Hi,
a
I
friend who
just-
just went on a cruise, probably like last week. And I know her and her husband were vaccinated, but they still had to be tested upon leaving the port, and along with their 10-year-old son who couldn't be vaccinated, he also had to be tested. And I think it was only a 3-day cruise, so they didn't need to be tested. They needed to be tested once they departed as well, or once they came back into port, I should say.
So the
but I don't
river,
think there was any testing in between on the ship after
the
that.
river cruises have been really good. I know that I had a client that just came back from Europe, and every time they departed the ship and embarked on the vessel, they had to be tested again. My concern is the cruises out of Florida to the Caribbean are starting. And with the state of Florida and the policies by the governor, it's really, really dicey because the governor of the state of Florida will not allow the cruise lines to mandate, and there's all sorts of HIPAA restrictions, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really concerned about keeping our guests safe and how we can incorporate the COVID protocols on our own events on cruises out of Florida.
Right.
It might be up to the client. And I saw Isabella, I think, had her hand up again.
Yeah, I just attended a meeting with Royal Caribbean, and they do corporate and incentive sales, and all their passengers are required to be vaccinated. And they do have sections, they actually focusing on corporate groups, meetings and incentives. And they have certain areas of the ships dedicated for meetings and events and meeting space. So you pretty much, you will have your own separate section of the ship during your meeting days, event days. And then after that, you're free to mingle. But she did stress that it is a requirement, mandated, and Royal Caribbean is insisting on that for the safety of everybody on board. I have her information if anyone wants to follow up with her.
Oh, thank you.
Well, cruises will be starting, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, they've already started. She just came back on a 3-day cruise to the little island over by Bahamas.
Oh, I was wondering now, when you're on your cruise, so you're going to stop at a port, do your excursion, and then get back on. You've already broken the whole bubble. So you're tested when you get back on, or are they even having ports to do excursions? Or
Somebody had said that they were retesting. I'm sorry, I forgot on my phone. It's hard to say who was talking, but somebody did mention that when the cruise, they had to be tested each time they got back on the boat. Somebody just said that, I believe.
So they are having excursions, or maybe maybe safer excursions.
Yeah.
Instead of with like 400 of your best friends in a bus or something. Oh, Cheryl, Ashley, do you want to?
So I'm in San Diego. We had 6 cruise ships leave last week. We're back. So the protocols are different in every state. And because we're so close to Mexico, there's different protocols. So the one thing I can tell you is you don't have to be vaccinated. They'll test. Then they separate you into groups. So all on board of the cruise ship, you have to wear a mask wherever you go, including to the dining room, no matter if you're in a group or you're separate or what have you. And then outside on the ship, so if you're on the pool deck or whatever, no mask required. And then when you do an excursion, they divide you now. So those people that are vaccinated go with like, a tour guide or whatever from the ship. So if you're doing an excursion, and then they all go together and you're masked. And then you get back on the ship. Those that are unvaccinated still have to wear a mask, but they all get tested and they're separate from the people that are vaccinated on this excursions.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it's working. But there are breakthrough cases happening on the ships. We've had people come back here. We've had 6 big ships leave last week. Also, San Diego is having issues because we have supply chain issues from Long Beach to with the dock workers. And San Diego's taken on a huge portion of that. And then, so we're taking stuff from Long Beach and LA. And so stuff's being delivered, even on the cruise ships, it's being delivered.
Oh, wow.
And then as far as the meetings, we're having labor shortage issues here. So the hotels are not successfully getting back 100% to meetings, at least here in California. They're just not happening. And our convention center was hijacked for 18 months up until August. So only 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So we housed all the homeless. It was mandated. And then we housed all the Guatemalan and Mexicans that were coming up, and that was mandated. So we couldn't do anything here. And so our leisure business was okay, but our corporate business has been really bad. So our first meetings were just 45 days ago.
Wow.
I did the first meetings that nobody knows about in town.
Wow.
Full on 3,500 people. They actually bought all the rapid tests. We're a big biotech life sciences community here. We do a lot of medical and healthcare and pharma meetings. And so the client decided, screw it, we're buying our own tests. We're not going to wait for HSS. We're not going to wait. California's too strict. We just want to do our own thing. So they did their own thing. Nobody got sick, but there were staffing shortages at the hotels because they just had come back. And that was a big issue. They also had an issue with water. So the issue with water being that's not discussed with meeting planners is this COVID thing. What do you do when the client wants to bring all these pallets of water or wants to logo their water on site? Okay, you can do that for some things, but people are really freaking out with COVID. They don't want to go to water stations necessarily and fill up their bottles. I mean, there's all this weird stuff now. You know, they don't want to eat off buffets necessarily.
Yeah.
So we, instead of doing a lot of buffets, we had to do a lot of grab and goes.
Interesting.
Because we got whacked here. I mean, we are the strictest lockdown state of all of the 50 states. And our business has suffered tremendously. And it's still not back, but people want to come here and they keep wanting to book, and then they have to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And with the Delta variant, everything pulled back again. So we're doing hybrid. But that's what I can tell you between the cruise ships that just launched last week. Also, just to let everybody know, if you go on the news today, the CDC and the FDA has upped their cruise requirements, or they're lessening them. So all of you guys that are interested in the cruises or what's going to happen, you can go to the FDA and the CDC's website today, and you can get the new protocols that are going to be kicking in February 1st, I believe. They're lessening the restrictions.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Information.
You. Hey, Kate, I don't know if you saw or how much time we have left, but somebody did ask a great question. I don't know if maybe you want to show them really quick. The question was, how do I add a planner and their profile?
Yeah, give me just a second while I get my screen prepared. Hold on a moment.
I'm the one who asked the question, and I was wondering if you can merge them both together.
You can't merge them, but you can. It's
skills for both.
It's one profile, but yeah.
One profile for each, so you cut and paste and do the same. I mean, why do you have? I mean, I don't want to have to recreate the same thing because it's pretty much the same information.
Kate will show you what to do. It's your same profile. You're just adding more skills.
Yeah.
So she'll
got
show
it.
you. It's
Okay,
easy.
thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen now, because I know it takes a moment or two for it to pull up.
So you've got my friend David's profile up here, and I'm going to just close some of these over here so it's easier to read. And we are looking at expertise specifically. So we're going to click on that expertise area. Wait for this to load. So it's right in here where you can choose whether you want to be identified as event staff, a planner, or both. If it's blue, it means it's highlighted and selected. So if David decided he no longer wants to be an event staff, he just wants information and projects about being a planner, he'll only select planner. If he wants to add it back on, he'll add it back on. And as you can see, as I do that, so let me deselect event staff. Under specialties, I only have the specialties for planners now. And if I scroll down, we specifically have skills for planners in here, and certifications, and your hourly rate for planner as well. Now, if you wanted to add event staff, you totally can, and it'll both be in here for you. So now you can select the 4 areas, the 4 specialties for your event staff. So if you've got different experience as an event staff than as a planner, totally fine. You can add all of that right in here. The skills, again, we've now added the event staff specific skills. We've got planner specific skills. And then there's a whole bunch of just generic skills in here that, you know, language, event technology, that a whole bunch of people across both spectrums might use. And again, we now have the event staff pay and the planner pay rate. So you can select both and specify each of those. Industry experience, your certifications, and then your about you. And your about you, this is your bio. I don't remember exactly how many characters we give you these days. I know we've expanded it recently, but this is your area to really show off your experience, show off who you are. Because as you guys know, this is just a form that people fill out, but it makes it easy for clients to search for you and to narrow things down. And the about you is what really grabs a client's eye. So being specific and being detailed in here is going to help for sure. So David here, for example, is specific about saying his first event was in 1998 at the Detroit Auto Show for total travel management. And he gets very specific about the number of people, the types of positions he's worked, all of that information in here. So a bio like this is considered more of a good bio, whereas having one that says, I'm really dedicated and I'm a hard worker and I'm good at my job and I love what I do, that's great and wonderful, but those don't really tell me about your experience and your work ethic. So being more specific in the about you will be a bit more successful for you as well. But this is how you do both event staff and planner all in one. And then just make sure that at the very end that you click save so that you don't lose your progress.
And Kate, I want to add, the video is so important.
Yes.
It's, you know, imagine if you're looking for somebody with a specialty to help work on your house or something, and if they have a video and a good sales spiel and good references, then also you're going to go to them more than if you have somebody who doesn't sell themselves. So the video, I have found people have really liked watching to see what your presentation style is like and everything like that.
I totally agree. And thank you for pointing that out too, Dawn, because I think that it can seem intimidating to say create a video of yourself, but it's really not that difficult. It's not that hard. I mean, I use my phone and I turn it like this and I put it in selfie mode and I put it at arm's length and make sure I've got good lighting and a good background and that I give my nice, concise spiel. But you're right, having that in here really helps sell you as a real human being. Because I mean, that's kind of like the biggest issue with apps, right? Is that we've got a profile we can look at, but how much of it is real? And having that video makes you a bit more real. So great. Thank you for pointing that out.
Also, the work experience you can add at the bottom also, that can kind of outline your TD work or video, whatever kind of work you've done. Just a little
Absolutely.
snapshot of things is really helpful.
Definitely. And it's a newer aspect to the Cadre profile. So to get there, again, it's just in this My Profile area, and it's right underneath expertise in work experience. And it's right in here. And whether you've got event staff experience, planner experience, or both, as you can see in here, you can add both. And I'm just going to show you real fast what this looks like, because I know that we get questions in the support ticket desk. So let me just walk through this real fast. Again, you're going to pick whether you worked as an event staff or whether you worked as a planner. In this situation, it's one or the other because you're just posting your experience. You'll pick which specialties, the project name, and just make sure that you've got a check mark in every single box. So let's see. So project location will say Las Vegas because everything is happening in Vegas these days. So, but if I just leave it at Vegas, just like that with no check mark, it is not going to post this, this experience. I'll show you. So we'll make it obvious. We'll say Apple. If I could spell Apple correctly, that would be great. And their technology, and we'll say that I worked it in the year 2000, because why not? And we had 1,000 people. And here's my description, which is also not spelled correctly. So let me just show you real fast. We've got everything in here filled out technically. There's no check mark here, so it's not going to add it. See? So if I go here and I select from the drop down, and now I've got that check mark in there, now it will add it. I'm going to delete it because that's not actually part of David's experience, but that way we get an idea of what that looks like and how to successfully add those positions. Another question.
I was going to ask one more, or make one more comment. There's also a pitch that you can make when somebody posts a job.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And that pitch is so important because I've been going through it with some of the clients that we have. And, you know, if the person is a pharmaceutical client and they're looking for somebody with a certain amount of experience doing pharmaceutical meetings, you know, the Sunshine Act, you've done this or that, take those words and put those in your pitch, because that's what the hiring official is looking for.
Exactly. That's a really great point. So the pitch, just so everyone is aware, just to go through this real quickly, in this area, in this slide out, the short pitch that you enter here shows up on the client side. So they're able to see your pitch, and putting in here, I love my job, and leaving it at that. It's not going to grab someone's attention, but saying that, you know, I've worked with Pfizer for 20 years doing.
I've experienced in incentive meetings, something like that, you know, just find out what they want and repeat it as long as it's true.
Yes, exactly. You know? Location is one, especially if it's a specific location and one that you're very familiar with, putting that in there is also a great way to get someone's attention. Because McCormick Place is my home convention center, so you all know how crazy that place is. So saying that I know McCormick Place like the back of my hand is going to win me over in the minds of clients over someone who's just like, it's a great city. It is a great city, but that doesn't tell anyone anything. So that's where that short pitch goes in. It is important. That part is not searchable, but it is really critical because, like Dawn said, it's the part that clients see when they get your offer. It's the first thing they see. They see your name, they see the rate that you offered, and they see your pitch. And so having that pitch that grabs is going to be important going forward. Excellent. Do we have any other questions that we can answer? I'm sure there are a million questions out there.
Didn't see any in the comments.
No problem. One more thing on the past work experience is, I know that we've had some people reach out with questions about if I've worked for multiple years as a corporate planner, how do I put that down? My recommendation is put it down for every single year that you've been there. It'll look ridiculous and redundant, but it gets the point across. That's my suggestion. It looks like Mary Lee DeCosimo has raised her hand. Mary Lee, what can we do for you?
There. So I have a question. I have not gone in here, you know, bidden on anything recently, but my question is, when I did, I was always confused how to bid. I would go in there and put the dollar amount. Is that what basically what you do? Just go in there, bid like say $200, $300.
It depends on how the client has set it up. That's a really great question because it does depend on how it's been set up. So let me see, I'm not sure how this one's set up. This one, for example, is set up as a range. So the client here has said that they're willing to pay someone between $250 and $399 for this one. So here, if you're willing to work this for whatever you are willing to work this for, let me say it that way. That's what I would put in there. So if you're willing to lower your normal rate because you're hungry and you just want to get some work under your belt, go ahead and put 200 in there.
Okay.
But if you're also like, you know what, I'm hungry and I want some work, but I'm also not going to demean myself and, and only work for $200 for an entire day's worth of work, go ahead, maybe it's 500. Go ahead and put whatever number in there.
Okay.
Whatever number works for you in the situation. But I'm sure you've also seen ones where, let me see if I can find one in here. Maybe this one. So one like this, where the daily rate budget is set. And no matter what I do, I cannot change it. So in this situation, this is a take it or leave it type of situation where the client has said, I'm paying $200 for this position, take it or leave it. And so you can either make it work. Again, you won't be able to change your rate, but you can do all the rest.
Okay. I guess what it comes down to, I just need to go into my profile, update my expertise, my experience, to be able to actually get somebody to be interested in me.
Right. So I mean, that's definitely a part of it. Yeah, definitely. But also, just keep in mind that the vast majority of positions that are posted privately. So I know that, many of you that have gotten work with, either Kim or Ashley or myself recently, it's usually listed as a private event, a private posting. And you get a specific invitation for it. And you'll see that over here in the invited area. David doesn't have any invitations right now. So it'll show up either right here on your dashboard in this tile and or in your left-hand column if you're specifically invited to anything. But if it's just posted publicly, it will show up in this all or this new area, and you can make offers on it as long as it's still available. If it disappears, it means that it has been filled or canceled. And they no longer need the position. So yeah, I hope that helps. Excellent. All right. Well, we are at the hour. So if we have one more question, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we can wrap this up and let y'all.
Courtney has a comment.
I just wanted to mention, I don't know how many of you, I know some of the names are very familiar to me. And I just wanted to mention that accounting is going to be starting a new feature, basically, because I know sometimes when we send emails, if there might be an issue with an expense report, especially from accounting, it may go to spam, or you may not see it because you're on site and it just, it might get buried in your inbox. So we are going to, probably in the next few weeks, start, there'll be automated text messages with the phone number that you have input into Cadre. But we'll just send you an automated message if there's an issue, just letting you know, could you please check your email from Cadre Accounting? There's an issue with your expense report, or we have a question on something, just so that it becomes front, of mind for you, and that you can respond when you get a chance.
Excellent. Perfect.
Yes, and to note on that, I get a lot of, oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One little thing to piggyback off of that. Do not reply to that text message. It's just a one-way reminder. But also, if you do get an email from accounting, the issue is in red text, because I get a lot of messages saying that they don't know what the issue is, or they're logging into Cadre. The it's in the body of the email listed in red print. So be on the lookout for that.
Excellent.
That's it.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Please join us again next month when we have our next town hall. It is on November 23rd. We will be sending that email out with that link to get you all registered for that. Thank you to everyone who chimed in and gave us your insights into the industry. This was really wonderful. Please go enjoy the rest of your day. I know that there are still a bunch of questions. Feel free to send them our way, support@hirecadre.com. Or if it's an accounting specific question, go ahead and send it to accounting@hirecadre.com. Again, thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.